Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set IPv6 to no, meaning how to disable IPv6 or IP version 6. I'm running a CentOS 8.5 virtual machine. I'll show you what interfaces I have and what IPs I have. So the default loopback is there and only one interface is configured and it has the correct IP I need and it's a static IP. So in my previous two videos, I already explained how to find if you are using DSCP, dynamic IP or static or manual IP and how to set a manual IP. So please watch those two videos. And in this video, we will disable IPv6 completely. In my last video also, I showed you some ways, but in this one, we will see a full-fledged version of disabling IPv6. Okay, so first thing, NMCLI connection show grep for method. Okay, nothing because we got nothing interface name. Okay, IPv4 method is manual. IPv6 method ignore, which I explained in the last video. And IPv6, sorry, proxy we can just ignore it. Okay, so IPv6 method, when it is set to ignore, what it means it network manager will not check this profile and assign an IPv6 value. Okay, the IPv6 will remain there, but it will not try to configure it. So we still see inet6 this entry even if method is set to ignore. Okay, so inet6 entries are still there for both. For the loopback, it is not required usually, but unless you have some requirements, then you can disable it permanently. So how we do that? There are many methods. First, we will check how to um, change kernel parameter. Okay, so kernel parameter tells you the current state. Okay, so sysctl net.ipv6.conf. Okay, we are referring to the configuration all dash disable underscore IPv6. So we want to check what is the value assigned, and 0 means it is enabled. So setting it to 1 would make it disable. Okay, let's do it right away. We set it to 1 and we use hyphen W option so that the changes are written. Hyphen W for writing. Now let's verify. The value is 1 now. Okay, the kernel has refreshed its uh, you know uh, awareness about this interface, and we have used all interfaces, and you see instantly that inet6 entries are gone. You only have inet for both because we used the keyword all, meaning all interfaces. Okay, now similar to all, there is another called default. So default, and it is set to 1. That means it is disabled currently. What it means is if I configure any additional interface or a USB interface, okay, then it will not have an IP version 6 assigned. Okay, so right now it is disabled. If it is not disabled, we can set it, but you see the value 1, so no need currently. But the changes we have made are looking good, but they are temporary. We have to make sure that when we reboot the system, these changes take effect. So from the command sysctl Uh, Rings a bell or not? ls-l/etc sysctl.conf. This file is there and it has many parameters that you can configure for your kernel. Now sysctld is also there and it has one file which is a symbolic link or soft link to the same sysctl.conf file. So it doesn't make any difference which file I touch. Okay, so I will not touch the default configuration. I'm going to create my own configuration file this time. Okay, so let's keep it simple. Get greater than and a file name. Since 99 is already there, I'll start with 100 and I'll give it some name such as IPv6 disable.conf. Okay, so lexical order is what the system does. So how it processes the configuration. So 99 that file will be processed first when you reboot your system. So whatever default settings are there or whatever changes you have made there, they will take effect. After that, this file will be checked. So any defaults would be overridden. Now we already have the parameters. This one I set it to 1 to ensure that any new uh, interface will not have IPv6 and the old keyword we just used here. So that is also set to 1. And I have made a mistake. I should give a space here actually. So I will hit enter and correct the mistake. This is the format inside the file. Get now sysctl -p, okay, and you specify the file. So it reads configuration from this file, and we can already see that inet6 is gone. But the hardest test is to reboot the server. Let's reboot and see if it uh, doesn't pick the IPv6 values or numbers. Okay, so I'm going to hit pause button for a few seconds. Okay, we are back. Let's enter the credentials and immediately hit IPA, and there is no IP version 6 entries. Okay, we only have inet, it is for IPv4 for both loopback as well as the interface, main interface we have. Okay, in case you wanted to keep this loopback with the IPv6 configurations, default configurations, then you can use this interface number name explicitly in the sysctl configuration instead of the keyword all. That's all about it, guys. But there is one more way you can try, probably. Okay, you can directly configure the kernel configuration file. Okay, so if you configure kernel configuration file, how you do that? Let me show you. Grub by -hyphen update dash kernel dash or hyphen, sorry, it should be all. Update kernel equal all hyphen arguments. No arguments. IPv6 dot disable equal 1. Okay, so this is how we can directly tell the kernel and hit enter and then again reboot. So I'll reboot the system and I'm going to hit pause. Okay, I've logged in back. Since we already have our sysctl configurations and we checked after the reboot IP6 was not assigned to our interfaces. Okay, so don't use kernel changes and sysctl configuration changes at the same time. I would use a sysctl file, whether the default file or a custom file, rather than using this grep I command or editing the grep configuration directly, because if you change this kernel setting indirectly, then it is more aggressive. Okay, when your system is online and for any reason temporarily you want to make IPv6 active again, you cannot do that. You have to reboot your system, okay, and probably get into maintenance mode or emergency mode again. Because once your system is up, the kernel has already done its work. Okay, so SSD, postfix, cronny, and Kubernetes, X11 forwarding, all those stuffs may fail to work. So, just a word of caution, don't use this method unless you have to. You are very good with this CTL 100, this file. That's all you need. And one more thing, guys, before I wrap up this video. Uh, if you don't have to reboot the system, you don't do that. Just uh, configure this file and use the sysctl command with the -w option, the right option, this one, because running this command immediately make changes in the kernel. You can say kernel space. Okay, so what happened now? No such file. Correct. Why? Because we have already told the kernel not to load any modules. So this file is no longer there. Okay. So that is why. So you use any one of those methods as applicable to your system environment. I prefer sysctl command, sorry, sysctl configuration. And that's all, guys. I'll see you in next video with something good. If you have any questions, any doubts, or you want to see any other command tool that I should make my next video about, please let me know. Bye bye.